Hey guys, in this video we're going to look at how we can scrape Amazon reviews using Python Scrapy. So just a quick overview first. We're quickly just going to go through the basics of how reviews are set up on an Amazon product page. Then we're going to set up a basic spider, a proxy to bypass any Amazon anti-bots. Then we're going to move on to getting the specific product with our spider code, looping through all the reviews that are on the page and scraping the review data that we need, and then saving all that to an output file. So to get started, we're just going to start with a basic Scrapy project that we have available on our GitHub. The link will be in the description below. And using this, we will then be copying and pasting in snippets from our article which goes along and follows this video. So the article how to build an Amazon review scraper will also be linked in the description, and even better, we have a fully completed Amazon spider which you can also git clone and try out whenever you want if you don't want to follow along with this video. Okay, so let's start off by just git cloning this basic Scrapy project. So I'm copying the URL here, going to my VS Code editor, opening up a new terminal, and just doing a git clone. Perfect. Now we can just cd in there, and I've got a little cheat sheet here just to follow along with, just to create a Python virtual environment, activate it, install Scrapy, etc., etc. Actually, I might just go back up to the top level of the folder. So we're just creating the Python virtual environment, which keeps all the modules that we need just in this specific project. Then we're going to activate that. We're going to do pip install Scrapy, because obviously this is a Scrapy project. So we have our project with our spider quotes. Okay, so we should now be able to check and do a Scrapy list. That gives back quotes, which is the name of this basic spider. So Scrapy is installed. We have a basic project. The next thing we want to do is set up our proxy, which we need to bypass the anti-bots which Amazon run to try and prevent people from scraping their site. So we can do that using the ScrapeOps proxy. So you can get a free trial account with 1,000 free API credits, and that gives us plenty of API credits to use in whatever tutorials you need. So you can just sign up for a free trial account, no credit card required or anything. And then once you have the API key, you can go ahead and follow us for the next step, which is just going to be installing the ScrapeOps Scrapy proxy SDK using pip install ScrapeOps Scrapy proxy SDK. So I'm going to go ahead now and just install that. And that's installed. And the next part of it is to set up the settings. So I'm just going to set obey robots.txt to false. And I'm going to get the settings that we need for the proxy middleware. And I'm going to put them all under this guy here. So it's just the ScrapeOps API key, the ScrapeOps proxy enabled, obviously true because we want to be using it, and then having the downloader middleware so that the proxy SDK is actually used. So if you already have a downloader middlewares list, you can add this line to that list. If you just follow along here, then you will just have this one downloader middlewares. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in my API key, and you guys can just add in whatever your one is. And once that is done, then our proxy should be good to go. So now that we've done that, we can start coding up our spider. Okay, so next step is I want you to go to your quotes.py in your spiders folder, and we're just going to, for now, remove everything that's there, and we're just going to add in our Amazon review spider. So just creating a new class, Amazon review spider, the name of the spider, Amazon reviews, and the start requests function is, as always, what comes at the start of any Scrapy class. In this start request function, we have our ASIN list. This ASIN list, Amazon Standard Identification Number list, contains the product ASIN number that we're going to be scraping. In this example, we're just going to have the 1. So this corresponds to the iPad we were just looking at. And as you can see, it's this guy up here. So you can add 100, 1,000 different products in here, depending on how many products you want to scrape the reviews from. And then the code is just going to loop through this list and get the full reviews URL. So we're not going to be scraping the reviews from just the product page, down the bottom, which we looked at a second ago. We're not going to be scraping them from here because Amazon has a specific product reviews page itself, which makes it just a bit cleaner and easier for us to scrape from. As you can see, they just have several reviews, and then they have the next page, and you can just keep looping through the pages that way. And they also have, nice, clear, simple stars, percentage, all that good stuff there that we can also scrape if we need it. So back to our spider. So once we have the Amazon reviews URL, that's the one that's going to kick off the scraping for this first product in the list. And then we pass it into the Scrapy requests function along with the ASIN in the meta object at the back here. And then once that gets returned to us, we want to parse the reviews. So let's now look at the parse reviews function. So this parse reviews function, it's pretty simple. So the response comes back from Amazon. We can take the ASIN number just because that's what we initially passed in here. And here's where we're keeping track of the different pages of reviews. So we've got our response.css, .apagination, and this corresponds to the next page that we have at the bottom here. So we can see this if we just inspect the element, if you're wondering where we get that, and we should be able to see. So what did we have? We had a-pagination, a-last, href. So there's the a-last, and I actually have a nice little tool here which might be able to help me out here. So if I get this guy, paste him in here, I can see that corresponds to this button. So this is something I would recommend you guys install. It's called the selector gadget if you're using Chrome, and it just allows you to verify that the CSS selectors that you're looking for are actually the right ones. So as you hover over different pieces of the page, it shows what the CSS selectors for those specific things are and how many different items on the page you are selecting with your CSS selector, because sometimes you might be selecting, for example, all the headers, all the paragraphs, etc. So as we can see here, just an A tag will give us all these other A tags on the page as well. Okay, so we have our next page selector here. We use the attrib and href to actually just pull out the href, which we have here, as you can see, href, and then we've got the link, and it has page number 2 at the end of it. So that's all correct. And that gets put into the next page relative URL variable. And basically that will keep looping around until there is none to select on the page. That's when we've reached the very last page. So we're going to keep looping through all the pages with this section here. And here we just make the full URL, because the URL we get here does not have amazon.com at the beginning. So that's why we need just this bit here to join amazon.com with next page relative URL. And that gives us our next page URL. And then we go ahead and we use, again, Scrapy request, the next page URL, and again we have parse reviews as the callback function. So it basically calls itself. Then what it does is it goes to the review elements and the response.css function here. So again, we can just type in review here, and that shows all the reviews that are going to be selected with this CSS selector. So that looks correct. So that gives us all the review elements on the page, and then we can loop through the review elements with this for loop, and we can use the CSS selectors here to pull out the text, title, location, and rating, and anything else that you might need. Now, again, to remember, these CSS selectors may change if the page has changed, because all these sites don't stay static very long, and every 6 months there's a new redesign. So the redesign could cause the CSS selectors to change, in which case you have to go back in and fix up the CSS selectors. Okay, so we're now going to go ahead and try and run our spider and see, does it get us all the data that we want. Okay, so we'll just kick off our spider with Scrapy crawl, the name of the spider, -o for output, and then reviews.json, just to put that into a JSON file that we can quickly check the reviews in. Now, okay, there's no module named Scrapy Python SDK. Let's just quickly deactivate our Python virtual environment and reactivate it. Okay, let's try it again. I just need to go back into my project and try and run it again. Okay, we can see the reviews.json file has been created, and we can already see some reviews coming here. If we open it up, boom, reviews. So that'll keep running through all the different pages, and we'll get the several pages of reviews that there was there. Okay, so I'm sure many of you noticed that there was a lot more than 50 reviews on this iPad. So why did our spider stop after just 50 reviews? So what Amazon sometimes does is, instead of all the reviews coming back in just HTML, they actually send some of the product review pages back to be rendered in your browser on the front end. So it needs to be JavaScript rendered. So I'll show you guys how you can get past this. What I'm going to do is that every time that we look for a page that is JavaScript rendered, instead of the spider stopping where it is because it can't find the next page link because it needs to be JavaScript rendered, what we're going to do is basically just recall the same page again, and we'll have a counter that just keeps track of the retries. Amazon isn't always going to keep sending the same page to us to be JavaScript rendered. So if we retry the page a second time, 99% of the time it'll come back in HTML. So that's how we can get around this little issue of Amazon trying to serve us JavaScript rendered reviews. Okay, so let's have a look at the code now and we'll see how we can do that. So first things first is we want to have a retry count, which we're going to be passing around in our meta field when we do the Scrapy request. So in the beginning, this retry count is going to be 0. And then what we're going to do is we are going to pass the retry count in when we're doing the main call here also. And we obviously need to be pulling it out of the response itself when it comes back. So then we have retry count here, that gets fed in here. And we need to do an else to our corresponding if. So what we're saying here is that if the next page is null, then we check our retries. If our retries are less than 3, then we increment our retry count by 1, save it into our retry count, and we do another Scrapy request with the same URL again. So the same URL is obviously just the response, and then .url to get the URL that we just tried to scrape. So we're retrying the page again here a second time, and then we pass in the retry count again just to keep track of that. So it'll keep trying. So this is also, now you could say, why can't we just keep retrying every single time? Because if we don't have a retry count, it will never end. It'll just keep retrying. Once it gets to the very last page, it'll just keep retrying that page over and over again. So we do need a way for it to only retry twice and then finish crawling the pages. And there's one other important thing here, which you guys might not know. So don't filter here needs to be set to true. So Scrapy, when it sees duplicate requests, it usually stops the spider. So without this don't filter, if we get it to request the same page again and we take out this don't filter, the spider will stop automatically because the default is just to stop the spider. And the only other issue that you may come across is getting 429 errors back from the proxy. So to solve that, I'll just save this. To solve that, we need to make sure our concurrent requests is set to 1. So you might have this, by default it's usually just commented out and the default is 16. So you just need to uncomment that and make sure it's set to 1. Now the reason is because when you're using the free trial of the proxy, you have 1 concurrent request when you're using the free trial. So that's just something to be aware of as well. So if we try one more time to do a Scrapy crawl Amazon reviews, we should see it should work fine and it should keep going and retry any pages that are JavaScript rendered. And as you can see, the data is coming back okay. We'll just leave that run for a couple of minutes and see how many reviews we get back. Okay guys, I just realized I've forgotten one extra line, which we need obviously, which is to set the retry count back to 0 if the page is fine, because otherwise all it will take is for there to be 2 JavaScript rendered pages and then the whole thing will stop. So this retry count needs to be added in as well. So I'll have all this in the article corrected so it'll work fine, and in the fully completed spider that you download as well. This will all be fixed so you guys don't have to worry about keeping track of that either. Okay, so if we just run this again, and with the -o into reviews.json, all the output will be saved again to the reviews.json here. So I'll leave that run again, and hopefully this time I haven't forgotten anything, and I will let you know in a few minutes how many reviews we've scraped. Now I probably won't let it run through the thousands of reviews, but if we get up to a couple of hundred reviews, we'd know that it's working correctly. Okay, so after a few minutes, if we go to our reviews.json, we're already after scraping over 300 reviews, and it seems to be still working away in the background. So that's working nicely. If you guys have any issues or you get stuck on any part of this tutorial, please let us know in the comments and we'll do our best to help you out. And if you guys have any other ideas for videos, please also leave a comment, because we're always looking for new ideas of what to make a video on. Now, we'll also be looking at how to scrape Amazon using other languages and other frameworks, because I know there's a lot of you guys who like to scrape using other languages too. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.